amazing to have you here. You bring a lot of great energy right away to the stage, which is amazing when you talk about energy. So maybe I'll just hop right in, because I'm actually very curious to hear a little bit more on the country perspective of Poland. I mean, we all know, right, that transforming from sort of low and zero carbon energy sources is where we need to head to. And I was curious to hear what this specifically means in the context of Poland, especially considering that phasing out more, coal-fired units is something that's going to play a very important role in the next years, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm very happy to be here. My energy may come also from the fact that I'm third month into my job, so no one persuaded me that it's impossible to really get Poland to do a full green transition from a 70% coal-based energy system into a green, cheaper, healthier, better energy system. I firmly believe it's possible. Moreover, I firmly believe it will make us just expand and improve our quality of life, and it will improve our economy, because this is really how I believe we can talk about it, because the facts are on our side in this case. But obviously we have a huge challenge on our hand. There is a new government in Poland since mid of December, and this government is fully committed to really be in it together with the rest of Europe in the climate policy, in the social justice policy, in the just be in this together and really make an effort. So you will hear very different themes, I hope, and very different ambitions from Poland.
I love how you say that, and the belief and conviction with which you speak. I think that's the energy we need, because if we're honest, and that goes not just for Poland, but for every country on earth that we're dealing with right now, it's such a big challenge, and we know that the transition is huge. Sometimes I'm not sure if we even realize the extent that we need to cover. You've also said before that capital intensive investment is necessary to even make that transition, which, I mean, I would get that from seeing how big the challenge is, but can you elaborate maybe from that financing perspective what is needed to decarbonize the economy?
Yes, so the upfront investment is something that really can put people off and scares people, and it's natural to be afraid of change if you have to invest upfront. And most people in Poland don't have savings, so it's particularly important for us to take these people with us and not lose them on the way. We have over 70,000 of miners who are still in their jobs in mining and need to be reassured.
Right.
We have farmers protesting, especially in the east of Poland, and we need to reassure them that Green Deal is there to help them to retain water for farming. But we need to understand and be sensitive to their needs and what they're telling us. So that's very important. And we also need to be sensitive and mindful of our friends and our neighbors in Ukraine who need help, support and reassurance, because without peace in Ukraine, we won't have peace in Europe. And that's huge challenges which we have to be mindful of. And
what you're saying in a way, because I sorry to interrupt you, but that's very interesting, I think, is I think you're tapping into what the conditions are to make this work, right? You mentioned neighbors in Ukraine, that's about justice, right? And you mentioned about, people in mining, they also need their income and their livelihood, so what is the plan for them? That's about the social element for it. So these are all prerequisites. I also want to ask you, and please then add what you wanted to say, but I wanted to say specifically, there are a lot of challenges that the energy transition poses. What are the opportunities that you also see with regards to that?
This is exactly the point I was coming on to. There is this myth, this preconception that energy transition may make people poor and those who are poor even poorer, where actually no. The amount of investment we had to make in Poland over the past just alone 3 years to maintain energy prices at the level people could afford was vast. It was tens of billions of euro every single year. This is not sustainable. So actually the cost of green transition is lower than maintaining the current status quo. It is. And it will improve the quality of our air, the quality of our life and our health. What else we need? We just need to get on with it. So this is the positive, and the economic strength and the economic benefits are in this as well. This is the future. We either develop it in Europe or China will do it for us. In fact, China is already investing in renewables far more than Europe together. So we really have to accelerate, all of us, as we sit here, to be competitive as well.
Yeah, I like that. I see some nodding faces in the hallway here in the Europazaal as well, so that's a very good thing to see. You're saying seize this opportunity now that we have it. I think that's a lovely and an amazing message, an empowering message to end on. I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Zielinska.
Thank you so much for listening. Have a good rest of the day.